So Max, so lovely to see you, and I couldn't help but notice that you have a friend that's joined you for this conversation, sitting in front of you there. Could we make an introduction, do you think?
So this is our 13th clock development creation with our friends from Lippe, 1839, the oldest clockmaker, I think in Switzerland, actually in the world today, still in function. And we love working with them. And this is actually, everything goes in three in this creation. First of all, because for the second time in 13 clocks, actually the idea is not mine. So usually it's MB&F and Lippe. Here there is a third person. His name is also Max. I'm very sorry.
Mr. Martens.
Martens. He's a young graduate from the ECAL, the Lausanne School of Design, which we took on as an intern, and who worked with me on T-Rex, which was our first. Well, in those, it's interesting because when you create your first of something, you never think it's your first of something. You just create something. And so we created the T-Rex. And when we finished the T-Rex, we thought, wow, this whole half robotic, half organic creature is really cool. Could we think of something else? So I told Max Martens that I'm not talking of myself in the third person yet. And so that if he has any other idea, which is something I very rarely do actually, but he's so talented and I so enjoyed working with him. And he came up with a sketch of more or less what you see here. Now, very difficult for me, for you guys to see the whole clock. You know what, I'm going to try and lift it up. There we go. This is our new baby. Now, I loved his design, I loved his idea, and we hurtled along with our friends of Lippe to create this piece. There we go. Thank you very much, Wade. Now, why does everything go in three? So already 3 entities created it, 3 legs, 3 glass spheres, which are the eyes, but the eyes not for it to look at you, but you to look at it. 3 time indications actually in the center, meaning it doesn't turn in 12 hours and 60 minutes, it turns in 3 times 12 hours and 3 times 60 minutes, and I'll come to that afterwards.
Cool.
3 levels of the movement, 3 colored panes of fluorescent. You're the second interview. The first time I completely botched up the word fluorescent, so I'm trying to get it right. Fluorescent polycarbonate, which means that you remember, you and I, we remember those times when we used to go to discotheques, or they used to be called discotheques, and they would give us our glasses, which were made out of this greenish acrylic, which when light would hit it, it was like fluorescent. So this is actually the same material. You never invent anything. You just get inspired by stuff in your past. And so all of this is a robo creature. We call them robo creatures. So it's a second in a trilogy, again, 3, because we like to do trilogies. We didn't invent that, did we? And so it's a second one. There is actually a story behind it that Max Martens sort of pitched me when he came over with the idea. As we were working on the T-Rex dinosaurs, Jurassic Park. How did Jurassic Park start? How did they manage to get the DNA of those dinosaurs?
Insect.
Exactly, a mosquito, which was caught in amber, and they got the DNA. So he was also inspired by mosquito. I sort of think it's also by what you call I think it's the water strider or the water jumper, which are those sort of big creepy crawlies which actually manage to walk on water. That's what I see in it. Again, like everything we create, everybody who looks at it sees something different. That's what's interesting. They usually don't see a clock or a watch. They see something from their life. And so, how do you read the time? Well, you have to work. You have to engage with your piece. Yes, you could quickly go and look at the time on the top, but that's boring. The whole point of these glass spheres is that you try and find the focal point. And when you look at it, it works as a magnifying glass and you see the time in the sphere. Again, this sort of 19th century looking at the crystal ball for your future. There are all sorts of references to the past that we didn't do on purpose. And if you ask Max Martens, he probably will tell you he's 30 years younger than me. He doesn't have those references, but I have those references when I look at it. If we talk of how complex it was to make, and you would interview Arnaud Nicolas, as he's not here from L'Épée, I will say a few words. Of course, it was the re-engineering of the traditional 8-day par reserve clock, which I have made them jump through loops to modify in all sorts of versions, because they originally had the clock with that dial. And since with all our different iterations, they're like, oh, I would like the crown here. Oh, no. I would like the time there. Oh, no, I would like you to turn circularly. And then I want each time going, now let's go on. And so here is the piece in three floors, sort of like 3 stacks. You've got the central barrel. The winding system is underneath. And you've got the time, which has been demultiplied in 3 times instead of 5. The difficulties, the main difficulties were double. The first is the glass sphere, which is optical grade. Nobody goes to see lens manufacturers, glass manufacturers, and tells them I want a ball. Like, sorry, I want the lens. No, I want a sphere. I want a perfect sphere. I want it perfect, and I want it perfectly polished, and I want absolutely no, how do you say, distortion. And so it was a hunt for Arnaud to try and find somebody who could actually do that. And what I discovered along the way is that Arnaud, the CEO of L'Épée, is actually an optical science engineer. So I had no idea. I've been working with him for 7 years. I didn't know that was his graduation project.
That's cool.
Now, the legs. What's very important in these robo creatures is that you have to have the impression that it's actually organic, a creature, alive, and it has to give you that feeling. So the basic shape has to make you think of an animal. So these legs, if you machine them out of an ingot, would take hours, days to machine, because they're like this. So if you have to take a whole block of metal to machine them, would be incredibly complex, made out of 316 steel. So actually, they machined them straight with 3D mills in 5 axis to give this design that Max Martens had given, which looks a bit like an insect. And then they have to bend them. So that is done manually. We did a little film where we filmed in the factory where you don't see much, but you see at some point a guy with a 2-meter long metal rod pulling. and so basically you've got a piece of steel, stainless steel, which initially when they were trying to bend it, would just bend by blocks. And of course it was horrible. And so they were scratching their head, and the deadline was coming up, and we had to present the clock. And finally, they had the idea, because in L'Épée, I think everybody's an engineer. I have yet to meet anybody who's not an engineer there. And so they managed to make wheels out of Delrin, which is plastic, that they machined, and they put it, and then they pull. And slowly it actually gets this organic curve to it. These are things which probably don't mean anything to people who look at it or who buy it, but for us, the creators, is to get it right. And I think we should give many more of these anecdotes so that the people who see our pieces not only go, oh, it's cool, or it's crazy, or I hate it, or whatever, but also realize how much work goes into all these incredible creatures and other mechanical wonders we love doing.
That's fantastic, Max. That's a great story, and congratulations. I think you basically redefined the whole clock category as well. I like the fact that you have, you redefined sort of super contemporary horological expressionist watches, and then you kind of redefine classic watchmaking with the beloved LM series, and beloved by me certainly. And also you gave a whole new sort of impetus and I think relevance to clocks by, I guess, transforming them into objects of art, which they are to begin with, but also to make them contemporary and to give this sort of like, again, that horological expressionism to them. And I love the device of the optical spheres there, where you have to engage with Trinity. You have to, find the spot and look at it, because that's you could have you could have bought, well, you don't even really need a normal clock. You just look at your computer or your phone, but here you've got something that you develop a relationship with, and I find that incredibly charming.
Actually, these robo creatures, more even maybe I think our robots and our robo creatures, because I've got a Balthazar at home, and I've got a Sherman at home, and I've got a T-Rex at home actually, and my wife is telling me that that's it. You don't want any more clocks at home. They're like actually having pets. I'm sorry if I'm aggravating anybody who's an animal lover, because I am an animal lover, but they're like little pets, and because they've got a life, and you wind them every 8 days or every 35 days for a Balthazar, and they're alive, and they're ticking. They're ticking.
That's amazing. Maybe the last thing I'd like to discuss with you, which it's very interesting to me, because I remember when COVID first broke out, and I think we realized that there was not going to be any sort of Basel or Watches and Wonders, so we decided to go virtual. Both of us did, and I think you were the first interview I did during this whole virtual watch fair period. And I remember you said it was a strange moment for you, because when things are challenging, you're used to going into the market, into traveling, into meeting people, and compelling a sense of dynamic energy, even if the prevailing dynamic energy of the world is flagging, and that's always worked. But you said it's a strange time, because now I can't travel. Now I have to basically sit at home, and so what should I do? But then if I look back at the year you've had, it's actually been exceptional, right? Like if you look at like the launch of this, so the Gold LM Perpetual, which did amazing. Then you did the Bulldog, which did amazing. Then you had the collaboration with our dear friend Edouard from Moser, which was mind-blowingly amazing. Like that, people, I think, couldn't get enough of those, And now you
4 days they were all gone.
It's incredible, But
I felt like Mr. Stern for a few days. It was nice.
And now you've got Trinity, which I only imagine it will go quickly as well. I mean, two things. First, that what I love about everything you've done, and I think you can include every watch we've just discussed, it makes you smile and it brings a sense of optimism. And I think there's nothing that we need more than that right now. But second of all, is also a defining moment to show that people still want to buy watches now. Even when times are challenging, when the world is very uncertain, people want to buy watches. They just have to be good watches, and they have to be watches that really transport you somehow. Would you agree, sir?
I 100% would agree. Something absolutely insane happened this year. Clearly in the month of March, when I sent all my team back home, and that all our retailers were, 95% of our retailers were closed and all our suppliers were closed, I thought it was going to be the end of the world. I thought it was the end of an incredible story, and I was a little bit depressed, to say the least. We are at, we looked at the numbers day before yesterday, at a historic record of sellout for MB&F on the first 8 months. And I didn't travel. And historically, as you said, every time there was a tough moment in our story, I would take my suitcases and go out into the market and meet customers and meet press and engage and inspire and try and explain what we're trying to do. And we'd get over it. And I've taken one plane in 7 months, and it's been mind-boggling. So basically, I've become totally irrelevant. It seems the company doesn't need me, which is nice. But more importantly, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think with everything which has happened to us, and I hope it's that, a lot of human beings have recentered their priorities, and showing off has gone very down on the Maslow scale. It was, you're in your underwear half the day at home. You're not meeting anybody. I don't know who's still selling suits and ties, I must admit. And so you suddenly realize that, yes, that's probably not that important, but I want to feel real. Amongst the the incredible fringe benefits of COVID. One of them is in the first weeks of the lockdown, I got so many messages of people I had lost touch with and just saying, hey, just want to catch up. Hope you're doing well. When was the last time you randomly took somebody in your agenda, in your Outlook going, I haven't heard of him for 2 years. Let me ask him how he is, with no reason behind it except I care. How are you doing? And I was like, I was so touched. And I started doing that also. It's like, hey, hope you're good. We haven't seen each other in 2 years. And you realize suddenly that what's more important for your heart, what's more important for your family, for your friends, for your friendship, is actually much more important. And I'm coming back to watches. I think we're not the only small independent who's doing incredibly well. I think we've got so much love and so much great positive feedback over the last 6 months of people who told us, as you said, you make me smile. Your creations make me smile. When I put it on in the morning, I'm so happy. And it's not about showing people I've got money. It's about, I love this piece. I love why this brand exists. I love why you guys are crazy and you're militants. We're militants. We're not a brand. And it's been an incredible 6 months. And I'm a little bit shy of saying that because so many people have suffered. But yes, on a human and even on amazingly on an economical part, it's been an incredible 6 months. We're still going to be probably at minus 20% this year because I have on purpose cut our production. And so I knew that if we did minus 20 with everything we've cut, we're probably going to hit break even. And that's all I'm interested in. But therefore, there will be even less MB&F pieces in the market. And we should be hitting 21 running at a speed like you've never seen us. So 21 should be our most incredible year. I've got wood all around me. So there you go.
Well, and we'll be there to run with you. Really big congratulations to what you've done. Absolutely great example that the love for horology is alive and perhaps more necessary now than ever. And again, you make things that have a wonderful honesty to them, a real authenticity, and bring happiness to us. So thank you, Max.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody listening, and thank you, Wei, for, as usual, having a great interview.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
See you soon.